Alrighty, greetings to 2023, the first ever Pocket Change Market Report for the year. Thank you for joining me on this momentous occasion. You see something a little bit different here. We're changing out the layout of the beginning image, I guess, on the video. I wanted to do something a little bit different. Let me know what you think. I mean, it's just telling us that it's a Pocket Change Market Report and today's date. January 4th, of course. Hopefully you guys are doing well. You guys are pumped up and ready to go and do some hunting out there, as well as I. I'm telling you, it's going to be a pretty good year. And we're kicking it off on a big way. We have quite the stout report, actually, this week. A couple coins eclipsing the $1,000 mark. Someone had mentioned, hey, I want to see more coins over $500, and it didn't disappoint. We have a couple of them here for you today, including one piece of currency that'll just blow your mind. It did me. I saw it come up on eBay here in the last 24 hours. I'm like, what? Someone actually found that and change. And it proves yet again that some of the most amazing things can be found out there. All you have to do is look with your two eyeballs. You know, if you're wearing glasses, 4 eyeballs. You know, I wear glasses in the evening, you know. I mean, do your part. Look at everything that goes into your pocket, or before it goes in your pocket, take a quick glance at it. If it looks interesting or neat, put it aside. You know, we could assess it later. And we are a resource. We have an email that you could send all your coin questions to, along with your paper money stuff. So you could certainly do that as well. I'll share that here toward the end of the broadcast in case you guys are interested in getting that information. But all in all, I mean, what are we looking at market-wise? I mean, the market threw us for a little bit of a loop, considering that, you know, it was kind of like business as usual, even going through Christmas and then New Year's. There really wasn't an anticipated kind of slowdown like we've normally seen in years past. I mean, it's just insane. But when you look at the entire ecosystem within numismatics and precious metals, I mean, there's a lot to get excited about. Price of silver, has increased a few dollars here in the last 30 days. So we're beginning to see mid-20s type silver as opposed to just $20 silver. So, that kind of plays a little bit of a kind of outlook of where things are, what people are investing in, what people are collecting into. And coins and currency has always been the tried and true kind of, hobby that everybody kind of like has an interest in being a part of, because it's monetary. It's all money. We're collecting money, and it's for that reason why this one particular segment of collectibles in general has been outperforming other collectibles like sports cards and comic books, which have dropped quite a bit in 2022. So I expect to see this continue on its pace. Just strong desire, demand. We have a pretty big show coming up here this weekend, as a matter of fact, in Orlando, Florida. The Florida Fun Show. So if you guys are remotely close to that area, go ahead and check out the big show. The weather's going to be nice, I'm sure, in Florida. Like this time of year in Florida, it's like 75 degrees. It's, very little humidity, and, it's a good time to take a little road trip if you can. But aside from that, a lot of things are going to be going on. New 2023 coinage, I would expect to drop here sometime mid-month. The Mint had announced that they were producing 2023 coins as early as mid-December. And so with this kind of like unanticipated change in their kind of like normal timeline in which they produce new coins, I would expect to see these drop a lot sooner than they ever have. So make sure you're ready to look for these. You guys know, on day one, these things will be hot. People are going to be looking for brand new 2023 coins. in the hopes that that next variety, that next error will be sitting out there for them to take advantage of. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. We have approximately a day and a half worth of market activity. And we kind of increased it up a little bit here for the midweek edition. We actually went up to 30 listings that we're going to talk about. I've normally done about 25 or so. But just beginning the year, might will kick it off on the right foot. Starting out with this Washington quarter with a pretty sizable cut die break that's over the date. We've seen this before. We don't know what the date is. It does have a physical mint mark. It's a Philadelphia minted coin, and with the physical P mint mark, that probably means it's a 1980s coin. But all in all, this coin has circulated quite a bit. You could just tell that it's not the most mintiest of examples. I probably wouldn't even call it about uncirculated either. This is probably high-end VF, low-end XF. And that's okay. Some coins just don't need to be high grade to sell for a lot of money. This one sold for $89.50 with 32 bids. Quite the amount of activity on this coin to kick off the PCMR today. The next one that we have here, this is a pretty nice sized curved clip on this 1955 Lincoln Wheat set. Not the best pictures. It was taken in a 2x2 and the picture was quite small on the listing. So again, what I'm telling you is take the coin out of the holder. You're not going to get the kind of glare like you're seeing on the reverse if you do that. Plus the photos will come out much more natural that way. You never know. You might even make more money off of it. However, I will say this seller did a really good job maximizing the amount of potential from it with an $80.60 sale from a curved clip out of all things. Yeah, it's a right good size piece as far as the error is concerned. But the coin isn't like super high end. It's got a little mint red in there, but the pictures are a little deceptive. Not my personal coin on the list, but it's worth noting that this one did happen to sell for a few $20 bills. The next one that we have here, a little bit tougher date, a nicer coin, but nothing that me personally I would spend anything over $10 for if I were cherry picking this. But again, another fantastic flip here on this 1920 Denver Buffalo nickel. The coin, I would probably say net grade's about VF20. It does have nearly a full horn on there. But if you look on the reverse, it has a lamination, which is quite common on the Buffalo Nickel series, top to bottom. There are a lot of annealing issues and things like that regarding this particular series. So finding a lamination is actually quite easy. And, based off of what this one sold for, which, by the way, is $79.95, our first three coins sold for around $80. Funny. But yeah, knowing what we know about laminations, they used to be not worth as much to error collectors, and then now more people are embracing this kind of mint error. So laminations occur when there's a improper alloy mix, during the process, or annealing, like the application of heat to the metal. Before they flatten out the strips and punch them out. So pretty cool error. Keep an eye out for these. They are plentiful, and you could find some really nice sized ones, even going into the Jefferson Nickel series. Our first piece of currency, a $100 bill, and this is a head scratcher to say the least. Someone, I guess, really wanted this note. 2009, a $100 Fed Reserve note, star, so it's a replacement note. I double-checked the serial number on mycurrencycollection.com, which you should do every time you find a star note. And come to find out, this is a high print run star at 3.2 million. So typically those particular notes aren't exactly worthy of a huge premium. Although this one right here did sell for $150.60. 1.5 times face is not something I typically see on $100 bill stars of that type of print run. So, the seller, good job for getting this amount of money. Hope it's paid for, and, everybody's happy on this one. That was a nice sale. There's a little bit of the back picture of this note, just showing a few folds in there. Probably a VF, high VF graded note. So you're going to see a few of these, what I call just the usual suspects. These are coins that come up weekly on my PCMRs, and let alone on eBay. You see these all over the place. So from 1998 all the way up to 2001, off-centers and broad strikes were common. Folks were finding these in mint-sewn bags back when they were being distributed across the country for circulation. So something happened at the U.S. Mint where they were having issues with the collars on the mint presses, where they're not engaging every time these things were being struck. And so with the absence of a collar during the striking process, all of that metal flow goes outwards. Okay, it doesn't stop anywhere. Same way with pressing your thumb in a ball of Play-Doh. You have all that material going outwards, making whatever you press into a lot bigger. So this particular Lincoln cent right here probably is about the size of a standard Jefferson nickel by comparison. The coin is in nice shape, but keep in mind, these are Zincans. All right, so this one does have some exposed zinc on there. Just be careful how these are being stored. Any sort of moisture will begin a corrosion process on these type of coins. This one sold for $23.75. Again, you'll see more of these throughout the video. Like this one right here. This one is more off-center than broad struck because you do have a little bit of cutoff of devices here on the reverse. So this particular coin is sold for $13.99. Not nearly as attractive as the previous example. Of course, eye appeal in certain errors means a lot to the actual value of the coins. And then we also have this one here, which is a 1918, and per the seller, it's a 1918 over 7 Denver Buffalo nickel. This is the king of kings of Buffalo nickel varieties. The other one I would say is the 1916 double die obverse. Now this one looks like it was acid dipped all around. Usually folks that come across dateless Buffalo nickels will typically acid date just the area on the shoulder of the Indian where the date would normally be. So the date is set really high on the relief of the coin, and the U.S. Mint didn't really think too hard about this when they were conceptualizing the actual dyes and plasters and things like that. And after the coins had circulated, a while, they found out that the date was one of the first things to go. And with that being said, we don't really know what the date is once it disappears. So, there's acid treatments that you could do to bring up the date, as if nothing happened. But the one negative about it is you get this pitted surface on the coins. This one has pitting all around the coin as if the whole coin was acid dipped, which is unfortunate. But, the only way you'll know if you have a nice variety is to really do the deed. And we don't want to talk about that, but people have been doing this for a long time. A little bit of close-up of the 8, and this is what the seller provided, but you do have the half circle top loop of the 8 right here, and then you kind of see what looks to be the bottom kind of diagonal bar of that 7. That's what you want to look for. You also have a little bit of a partial half moon bottom loop as well on that bottom of part of the 8. Coin is still valuable. If you're able to diagnose one that is no doubt about it an overdate, these things are still silly. Like, for instance, this one sold for $400. And, if you're able to find like a VF version of this that's problem-free, that coin is worth about $2,000 to about $2,500. So, yeah, this one's more of a bargain basement type of purchase, but, you get one of the most coveted varieties within the series. The next one that we have here is actually a pair of coins, and they are of the spitting variety. So you have the 99 Delaware spitting a horse, and you also have a 1983 spitting eagle, both Philadelphia minted coins. I guess the seller elected just to sell them as a pair as opposed to singular type pieces. There is the Delaware quarter, showing that the line coming out of the horse's mouth. This is like an earlier progression of this occurrence. These will actually turn out to be die cracks. A die crack that, in its earliest form just looks like a line like this. But the die crack actually in its most advanced stages will go through the A and C in Caesar, and in some cases go all the way to the rim. Pretty cool. This one right here is a die clash actually. And that's how this one is formed. You can actually see the die file lines in the fields here, where I guess a mint employee attempted to clean up any clashing that was there, but instead you have what we call the spitting eagle, or what they call that. I just learned to accept it because it's, I call it a die clash, but because of where it's located, it has its own nickname. This one right here sold for $19.55. with 11 bids. So probably one of the coolest finds, I was going to say of the year. We're barely into 2023, but someone had come across and found a life-changing piece of paper. This is a $20 Federal Reserve note. 2017A is the date on here. Solid ones. 8 in a row ones, however you want to spin it. This thing is awesome. This is one of the most highly regarded fancy serial number sets that you will ever come across. So anything with solid ones, twos, threes. I mean, I can tell you this right now. The three most valuable solids are 1, 7, and 8. We know why 7 and 8, because they're lucky numbers to a lot of folks in different cultures. But lucky number 1 over here is another important number because it begins, the serial number. 0 does, but there's no note that has all zeros, So, yeah, I just, thought I'd throw that out there because there was actually someone that did say, I have a note with all zeros on it. And I'm like, well, yeah, there is a specimen that does exist from like 40 years ago, but, unless it's graded and all that, it doesn't really matter. And it never circulated. So where did this one end up at? Someone actually hit the buy it now button. Someone offered it for $1,000, and that's how much this one sold for. The question is that a lot of you are going to be asking, was that worth it? Actually, yeah, it kind of is. Especially for one of the top 3 solid numbers that you want to see coming out in change. So, yeah, you got to look at your currency a little bit more often before you throw it in the wallet or in your purse. Good job, by the way. That was awesome. Not the perfect looking note. It's got its fair share of circulation. It looks like even a little edge tear right here. All right, next piece of currency is the 1988A $1 bill. Looking at the front of the note, nothing really that kind of sticks out. But when we look at the reverse, we have a nice little wet ink transfer, a little partial here. So the impression cylinder had a little bit of ink, maybe because there was a fold in the sheet and the ink from the printing plates had transferred onto the impression cylinder at one point, and it's a partial, so usually we see that with corner sheet folds, which, the BEP's imperfect when it comes to these things, and they normally catch them and replace them with, star notes before they end up in circulation. But again, another really cool error here. This one sold for $60.39 with 21 bids. And then Coins and Cards, hitting it out of the park to kick off 2023 with a 1922 plain no D Lincoln wheat cent. This one has the strong reverse. You look at any publication, you guys know this is a key. This is one of the coins that you want to try and obtain. whether that's through hunting miscellaneous wheat scent bags or what have you, but it's not an easy coin to obtain, especially in nice condition, nor is it cheap. Like this one right here is sold for $1,140 with 30 bits, and impressive considering that the coin isn't even graded. So, you know, until that happens, or maybe once someone wants to just add it to their collection, put it in an album, this is a heck of a find. And I mean, these were all minted in Denver, all right? So if you find one that is as clean as this one without a Denver mint mark, that is a huge coin. There is a weak D variation of this where you could just see just enough of a little nub popping out of the surface there. This one certainly does not have that. All right, quick little silver check, because I have found a few of these myself. Yeah, what's that thing on the reverse? You know, well, I'll tell you what it is. This is, by the way, a 1921 Morgan dollar, only one of the most common dates on the face of the earth of Morgan dollars. That's what they call rolled in slag. All right, not a strike through. Before the coin was even minted, all right, the planchet came from a strip. And that strip had some streaks of slag that was rolled into the strip. And then when it was punched out, then one of the planchets had that rolled in slag on there. So very impressive, because more of these I've seen graded. And not to say that you need to grade them, especially like common dates or coins that are in particularly rough condition. This one right here, by the way, is sold for $85.76, which is roughly 3x, I guess, whatever spot value is right now. So not too bad. Really great find. Look out for these. They come small, large. Like this one I would consider to be a right good size, probably large, rolled in slag. There's a little close-up. Looks like someone took a paintbrush and just painted tar across the coin. All right, so I talked about this one on a short video, and it finally sold. It didn't take very long, a few days after I'd done that video. This is a 1934 Washington quarter. The quarter, by the way, not a high grade. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably cleaned. The surfaces are too glossy to be a regular circulated coin, or mid-state. But this is a great day to look for a big doubled die. This is the FS 101 on this particular date. Again, this is a coin that you can come across in bulk silver all day long. I found a few of these big doubled dies on just scrap silver, groups. And it's worth a shot. It's worth looking for, because if a quarter has a melt value of $6 and you find some of these, they can be worth hundreds. This particular one right here sold for $135.94. Again, another example of why you should spend a little time embracing your scrap 90% is for things like this. Here's another early Buffalo nickel. Again, another coin played with lamination and annealing issues. You can see it here on the front. 1919D. There is a Denver mint mark here on this one. Again, more kind of like a VF20 net grade on this. Nothing too spectacular, but this is a coin that dealers would sell for like 10, 15, 20 bucks all day long. So if you see this, and again, very common, pick it up, resell it. This one ended up going for $77.99. All right, so we're in 2023, but it's always worth noting some of the most memorable coins of the last year, and this one has to be on the list. 2022P Sally Ride. This one has the pretty nice clashing. Not the strongest. It's strong on the reverse, but you don't see any of the clashing details on the obverse where Washington is. This particular coin right here has the clashing that you see right here, Washington's throat area. And this one, even this one that's not particularly strong and has a few hits on it, sold for $13.49 with 6 bids. So there were a few of these cut die breaks on nickels, starting out with a 1976 Philadelphia. Again, one that looks like it was just found yesterday in change. Your cud is right here at the base of Jefferson's bust, which is a common weak point on the dies, on the working dies. So those routinely broke, and when the piece of the die falls out, you have a void there where all of the metal flow kind of flows into during the strikes. And that's how we get these raised blobs on here. This one sold for $36.50, and we do have another one like this on the list. All right, so this is actually a pretty nice looking 4-coin lot of broad strikes and or off-center strikes. And they're all within kind of like that date range where they're common, like 1999, 2000, 2001. There's even a Denver in here, right here, this one here. A little bit tougher date. If someone were collecting these by date, that's, I'm sure, one that they need. So coins are in nice shape, and these were probably all found in mid-sewn bags during the day. People were just going through those like they were crazy. This one here sold for $56 with 11 bids. Most folks I tell folks, target, lots if they're, affordably priced where you could pick them up. You could turn around and sell them individually and try and double your money. I've been successful doing that on a number of occasions. And it's just good practice to teach other folks that's looking to not only learn about mint errors, but to also make money in the process. Here's our other cut die break, just about in the same spot too, this time a 1983P. This is actually a very common date to find this. The coin, not in great shape. Nope, it's just it's a beater. It's been serviceable in commerce. This one sold for $35.10. We don't see these that often. This is a Roosevelt dime, no date of course, with 3 rim clips. One very nice sized rim clip and then 2 other shallower ones. Just as an example of a rim clip of this magnitude is just special enough as it is. People who collect different types of errors, and they do what they call a typeset, kind of like around the horn kind of collection of errors. This is probably the best example of a clipped error example that you could possibly ever find out there. This one sold for $60, which is right nice, considering that dimes traditionally aren't the most sought after coins in the market. A few more off-center strikes, couple tougher dates. Here's the 1988. This one seen some circulation. People have said, well, you can't very well find those out in the world today. I'm like, well, I beg to differ. Have you seen the 1988P that I highlighted on my PCMR at the beginning of the year? Great example right here. Off-center by about 20%, I would say. Features a full date. If it had a mint mark, you could see that as well. It's generally problem-free. I don't see like major carbon spotting, things like that. So a collector would want something like this. How about $19.10 with 12 bids was the final sale on this one. You're like, what in the world is that? Well, that is a struck piece of scrap. And yes, it is zinc, which means you can only find this on a Zincan era Lincoln cent. So, again, probably found in a mid-sewn bag. These are typically stuck to a planchet. They get struck, and then that piece falls out. There's probably a coin out there with a matching section where this would fit into, like a puzzle piece. These things don't pop up. This is the first time that I've talked about a scrap like this on my PCMR, so consider it a first. $104.60 was the sale price on this little thing, and be careful you don't lose it, because it'd be easy to do. So we do have this is actually pretty neat. I talked about these before. 2020 Lincoln Shield cent with a, what did they say on this one? Off-center is what came up. It could also be a partial tilted collar as well. But really cool and very clean coin, man. I mean, if you're looking for this date with an error, this would be the perfect one. This one sold for $18.50 with 3 bids. Here's another great example of a massive broad strike, 1999p Jefferson nickel. Common date, by the way, for these errors. This one is probably about the size of a Washington quarter, if I had to guess. It might even be just slightly bigger than that, based on how pancaked this one is. This one right here sold for $25. So, yeah, that's kind of the going rate for the more common dates of these error types. Our coin of the week actually is this one here. This is actually an error that you can find across a bunch of different dates of Roosevelt dimes, not to mention other denominations as well, from Lincoln cents to Jefferson nickels to quarters, even half dollars, and they're all within kind of like this, you know, like 1998 to 2010 era. And then there's a little bit of a drop off, and then we're seeing more clashes today on current coins from like 2015 to date. But this is a very strong one. You can see the clashing in front of Roosevelt's face and throat area. This is all clashing of some of these leaves on the olive branches and things like that. You can see the profile clash on the reverse as well. Not as strong on the reverse, but it's there. But yeah, clashes are always great. And, you know, clashes occur when the hammer and anvil die eventually make contact. And that's because there's no planchet in the striking chamber. So it's a one-off kind of occasion that does happen. But it also attributes to another underlying problem. You know, that maybe there is an issue with the feeder finger or some other component of the press where, you know, another planchet isn't able to be fed into the striking chamber. So a mid-employee can very easily walk away for like 3-4 minutes, come back, and then that occurring. So this one right here, very nice example, by the way, sold for $44 with 8 bids. And that's kind of like the average. You know, that $30 to $50 range is an average for a lot of these strong die clashes that you don't typically see them sell for anything less than that. And, you know, when they show some strength, they also show a lot of dollar signs as well. So make sure you're looking out for these on all coins. Good old Brian Rybar posted a really nice double die. I'm a little bit jealous because I have one of these. It's not nearly as nice. 1963 Denver Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is the FS 101. You can see the extra inner tip of the 3 double punched. On the earlier die states, you can even see the bottom curl of the 3 as well pop out right here. This one, I mean, really cool. It's widely available. I found probably a dozen of them just going through bank boxes. So that kind of gives you an idea of the frequency in which these pop up, which is quite normal for it, I guess. This one right here is sold for $23.90. 2000p South Carolina State Quarter. This one is actually, it looks off center, but it's a partial tilted collar. You can see that the collar was slightly tilted during the strike, thereby leaving an absence of an actual struck reading. And it's a partial too. Like you can see a partial reading. That's like half on there. It's like a half and half is what I call it. But yeah, again, another malfunction involving the collar component of the mid press. This one right here is sold for $19. So pretty cool sale on a pretty well circulated coin. Yeah, I don't see these that often on modern coins. 1994 Denver Washington quarter with a straight clip. We have a really broad Blakesley effect region here next to the motto. This one is taken in like an airtight holder. Again, guys, to take the coins out of the holder and then photograph them, put them back in. It's just easier that way. You're gonna get much better photos. This one sold for $34.95. Here's a 1978 Washington quarter, off center by about 25%. This is a beauty, very nice high grade specimen. Again, probably needed in a date set This one sold for $59.99. Here's the other 1988 on the list, although this one is in a much nicer condition, but does show plenty of exposed zinc on a lot of areas of the coin. So this might be a coin that you might want to move ASAP and get it out of your collection before some of the deterioration, corrosion process occurs. Off center by, again, probably 25-30% here. This one sold for $33 with 18 bids. And then finally, we're going to end off this first New Year's PCMR on the big coin from last year. All right. And boy, have they dropped off quite a bit. Not quite off a cliff. I mean, they're still worth hundreds of dollars, but they're not worth close to $1,000 like they used to 6 months ago. Good old Wilma Mankiller, obverse retain cud and reverse retain cud on one coin. These are all, again, minted at the Philadelphia Mint. This one is in pretty decent shape. I would dare say it's probably still mint state at this point. But yeah, it's still a big chase piece. This one right here, the seller ended up accepting an offer of $417.60. I believe it was $412 plus shipping is what it ended up being. I think they were asking like $800-900 for it. So that used to be the price for them back last, September or somewhere thereabouts. But really cool. I mean, still a cool coin. One of these days I will own one of these in my collection, but I'm trying to wait till they're like $200-300. Don't know if they'll ever get there, but yeah, keep in mind that prices are still retracing on these. So if you got them and you don't need it, try and capture some of that easy money while you can. Happy New Year, guys. That's it. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Time to get to work. I'm going to go out there and do some hunting right now. Love you guys. Thank you again for all the views and support. Since the beginning of time of Blue Ridge Silverhound, we are a few hundred subs away from 300K. Huge milestone. Never thought that good old lonely, coin channel would ever hit that milestone. A lot of other coin YouTubers have done it and have blasted through it. So, it was only a matter of time. The good old Chatterbox Blue Ridge finally gets there. Whether I deserve it or not, guys, thank you for this journey. It's been fantastic. I wouldn't exist without you guys, that's for sure. But yeah, like I say, share, subscribe this show, this video. I'm also on TikTok, so come follow me there as well. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm out of here. See you guys.